Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me today on Facebook Live. This is my first Facebook Live session, so please bear with me. I've been sitting, standing. Do I have the props in the back sitting correctly? So I'm doing the best I can, but I really want to just make this as natural a conversation as I can. We're used to having conversations with people on the phone or in Zoom conferences, which is a new way of doing business. So I'm not used to having a one-sided conversation. So please bear with me as I go through this today. And this is going to be the first of many to come. So we're really looking forward to being able to share information with you. So to get right to this, I just want to ask you all to tell me a little bit about yourselves. You can do that through emails to me. You can post directly to this Facebook Live session. Post your questions. I'll answer them as best I can. But tell me about yourselves. Tell me what's important to you. Tell me what you're frightened about. What is nagging at your mind right now as we go through this crisis together. I want to tell you just very quickly a little bit about who we are. I've been in business for over 25 years as a mortgage broker, and in fact, a licensed broker since 1993. The reason I'm saying that is because we've been conducting our business virtually for well over 20 years. So from the standpoint today where the majority of people are having to learn this way of doing business being virtual, we in fact have been doing this quite successfully for well in excess of 20 years. So we've adopted quite nicely. Our staff has been working remotely for the last, this is the 7th week, and we were able to get everybody ramped up virtually within 2 hours of the crisis being announced as a emergency event. So from that standpoint, very excited to be able to continue doing business the way we do. It's just a little bit different doing things and having meetings and discussions on Zoom or on Facebook. I know that what we're hearing from people is they're frightened, they're scared, they're unknowing, they don't know what is happening right now with the mortgage world, let alone the rest of the economy, their jobs. The sense of security that people have had for so many years is now turned upside down. So some of the things we're going to go through today, I will help answer some of the pressing questions that have been asked of me and my staff over recent weeks. And hopefully I can bring some stability to what's going on out there and provide some peace of mind to you or somebody that you may know that is going through this and having pressing questions. Whether you're buying, refinancing, or renewing a mortgage, there are solutions. So don't feel alone. Don't feel as though the banks are here to let you down. That's not what's happening. The banks are in business to help you do business, to help you stay in your homes. And there are some very, very good people in the backgrounds of all institutions trying to find ways to get everybody through this. So just make sure that you know that you're not alone as we go through this, and there are solutions for you. We can help you. Mortgage professionals can help you across the board. Just make sure that you seek some good advice. Like most of our lives, as I mentioned, you're probably now watching this through your living room, your kitchen, which is not the way we've done business in the past. So we all have to adapt. We all have to adapt to the new way, to the new world, and hopefully the old world comes back to a degree, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be the new way of conducting communication, and it's going to be the new way of conducting face-to-face. But just know that there are virtual methods that you can benefit by as you go through this. You don't need to be sitting in your car, going to a branch location of a bank to facilitate what you need. You can accomplish everything that you have to virtually, as I mentioned, as we've been doing for quite some time. What can you expect from us? At Mortgage Architects, we have a team here that they've dedicated their time and their job to making sure that you keep informed, to making sure that you get the information that you need to get you through this. So video conferencing is one of the things that we're going to be doing a lot more of. As we go through this process together, we want to make sure that we keep you informed. I have staff members that their sole job right now is to make sure that they are well versed on what's going on with the banks, with the finance department, with the credit departments of different institutions, to make sure that you get what you need. So video conferencing is going to be quite commonplace for us. We're going to be scheduling these events every Monday at 10 a.m. So please stay tuned. The other thing that we as an industry have been able to adopt quite recently is e-signatures. So some of you may feel as though that's very archaic, given the fact that e-signatures have been around for quite some time. Well, the mortgage industry can be quite archaic at times, simply because we are just adopting that policy or that process now to make signatures or signing of our clients' documents a lot easier. So we're quite excited about that being the new, well, we'll call it the new technology. It's not new at all, but new to our industry, and we're quite excited about that. Changes we're seeing with lenders, very, very interesting. And as I mentioned at the onset of the call, we are seeing lenders still willing to lend, wanting to lend. That's their job. Their job is to make sure that you are borrowing money. Their job is to make sure that they're getting money out to the Canadian public. They want to make sure that you have what you need to succeed and continue on with your home. So lenders are in fact lending. Guidelines are tightening up without question, and the reason for that is they need to confirm employment. They need to confirm things in a very different way than perhaps they had before. So just know that lenders are doing everything they can to make sure that you get the money that you need in order to allow you to go out and refinance or buy a home. So don't feel as though you're alone in that regard. The big bad banks that we've always referred to them as, they're there to help. They're there to make sure that you get what you need. So their underwriting guidelines are becoming more stringent, however, for good reason. So keep that in mind when you are applying for anything. You may be asked questions today that perhaps you hadn't been asked before. So going forward, weekly, I want to be addressing what we find to be some of the most pressing questions that we're getting from our clients. And we're dealing with clients all week long. So as you can imagine, you may feel as though your situation is unique in nature. Ours is most certainly an industry where we're hearing absolutely everything about a client's needs and wants and desires as we go through this. I jokingly in the past have always referred to myself as the mortgage minister, because people tell me things that perhaps they don't tell anybody else. They don't tell even some of their closest friends and allies. So I'm hearing things from people that are not so much shocking to us, but perhaps if the outside world were to hear what some people are concerned about today, it would come as a little bit of a surprise. But we're finding people that, again, coming across people that are still asking the same age-old question. And when I say age-old, I'm talking 6 weeks now, because again, this is the new norm. Should I or can I defer my mortgage payment? What I can tell you is that if you feel you need a mortgage deferral, if you have lost a job, if you've been temporarily laid off, whatever the case is, by all means, you should most certainly pursue that vehicle or that avenue, because it's a lot better to apply to your bank to have your mortgage deferred than to be missing payments because of affordability and then reap the repercussions of missed payments down the road. These deferred mortgage payments are being made available to you to benefit you through this crisis. So please take advantage of it if you feel you must. And what I've been finding is that the majority of lenders out there are taking great steps to make sure. Now, granted, their phone lines are busy. I've heard people on the phone for as long as 8 hours, but they are taking great steps to make sure that they're helping their clients defer mortgage payments. Now, you're going to hear all kinds of bad things about this program and how the banks are doing this to capture greater interest costs to the client. I wouldn't like to think that it's a conspiracy. I would like to tell you that most certainly there will be added costs and aggravation perhaps down the road when you go to pay this mortgage back. But the way I look at it is, right now we have a need. We're in unprecedented times. We have never experienced a situation like we're in today where a bank is willing to defer your payments to help get you through this crunch. So if you need it, please take advantage of it, benefit by it. It's there for you specifically to benefit and to get you through this tough time that we're all going through. The other thing that I'd like to just point out is I had a client who reached out to me who is not in any financial constraints whatsoever, but is a business owner that has staff, that has overheads, and what they're doing is they're applying for the mortgage deferral because it makes good business sense. It's not a tarnish on your credit bureau. It's not a mark against your mortgage. You're not going to be rated as a delinquent borrower. In fact, pardon me, they are just doing it as a deferral of capitalization, and then they will recapitalize that money back onto your mortgage, pardon me, at a later date, whether it be 6 months, 2 months, 3 months. And when you find that you are no longer in need of the deferral, jump back in and start making mortgage payments again. Get that interest paid back, so then that way it's not accruing over time. So to sum that up, mortgage deferrals, absolutely take advantage of. Whether you feel you need it or not, for those that don't need it, let's let the people who do need it benefit first. But those of you that don't necessarily need it, by all means, try to benefit by it, because there could be other reasons, could be business-related reasons that you're going to be benefiting by that program. As I said, the one very important thing to keep in mind is that it's available to you, so benefit by it if it's there. Do not bury your head in the sands and pretend as though nothing's going on and that the banks won't catch up to you. It's a lot worse for you if you are going to be missing mortgage payments and having your mortgage default be recorded on your credit bureau, because that's not something you're going to be able to repair overnight. So just keep that in mind. All right, now, this week I've had two very, very interesting calls from pre-approved clients. And both individuals, now we've had calls from many, but these two in particular, both had been temporarily laid off. And they were hoping that their pre-approved mortgage was going to still stand valid while they go out and buy a house. Please keep in mind that a pre-approved mortgage is pre-approval based on your financial position at the time that you applied. If anything has happened in the meantime, you've had any material changes to your financial position by way of a job loss, by way of a temporary layoff, by way of credit, then your pre-approval still stands to be reapproved again, or in fact, scrutinized and declined. So you must please be aware that if you were employed, you were gainfully employed, you had down payment, you had good credit at the time of applying for your pre-approval, and since then you have been temporarily laid off, your pre-approval might not be the same as it was. So I would encourage all of you to reach out to anybody that you have received your pre-approval from, and make sure that you update the information. Make sure that you know where you stand on that pre-approval. I had one incident this week, or one occasion this week, where an individual had called me to tell me that they had actually put an offer in on a property and lost out on the offer due to multiple bids. And yes, that's still happening in this marketplace today. But they missed out on the bid because of multiple bids, and they were looking forward to being able to go out the next day and look at houses and potentially offer on a house again. Very, very scary. And I actually said to them, I'm really glad you lost out on that purchase price, or that purchase, because if you had have won the bid and now being unemployed, you'd be in a little bit of trouble with no anticipated callback date to work. So please keep that in mind. If you were pre-approved, make sure you update it. And one note on that vein is, make sure you know the difference, or make sure you find out the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. A pre-qualification is normally what you are receiving as an online application process, what you're receiving sometimes when you're dealing with the banks directly. They pre-qualify you, whereas it's not a full approval process. So make sure that you are fully pre-approved, not pre-qualified, as you enter into the housing market and you're trying to buy a home. What worst thing could happen, or let me rephrase that. As I said, I'm trying to be as perfect as I can today, but I'll still make mistakes. Let's look at the situation where you think you're pre-approved, you're going out and spending time looking at houses, you're going out and spending the time of a hard-working realtor to arrange for these appointments for you to see houses, only to find out that you were never pre-approved, you were pre-qualified, or to find out that your pre-approval isn't valid anymore. So again, very, very important thing for you to do. Update your pre-approvals. If you don't have a pre-approval, get yourself pre-approved. Make sure that you have an approval that can go with you to get you through this crisis and out on the other side, ready and able to buy a property. Another thing that I'm being asked, rates. Why are they going up? Well, that's a good question. I was on BNN last week with a BNN host talking about this specific issue. A lot of people are of the mistake or are mistakenly believing that rates are going to come down because the overnight Bank of Canada lending rate is dropping. That in fact is not the case. The Bank of Canada is pumping money into the institutions to keep them moving forward, to keep the economy going, to keep the consumers getting what they need, whether it be a deferral or whether it be a new mortgage. So the Bank of Canada is pumping money into the banks, and the cost of these funds, the spread on this money has become more expensive. Therefore, the banks are forced to have to raise their fixed mortgage rates. The prime lending rate, in fact, has come down from where it was 3 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago at 3.95 down to today at 2.45. But what's significantly different there is that the banks were offering a discount on the prime lending rate in the past, and now they're in fact offering prime or prime plus a premium. So rates are going up and down all the time. They've done some crazy things in the last 5 or 6 weeks that there's a lot of information that is in the background of why that's happening, and the cost matrices and things like that. But just know that the mortgage rates are going to have to follow a certain pattern in order to get us through this crisis. And then I would believe that as we start coming out of this, we may very well see a reduction in fixed rates. I don't know, but we will most certainly see a reduction in the prime lending rate, which, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. We may see a further small decline in the prime lending rate, but if nothing else, it will at least potentially stay the same as where it is today at 2.45. So you can be rest assured that there will be the affordability there for you to get into the housing market, to get into the mortgage market in any way. So, very quick recap. Refinancing, absolutely consider it today. If that's an option that you need to take advantage of, let's do it. Let's look at it. If you're purchasing today, make sure that you are pre-approved and fully pre-approved. So that way you have no doubt in your mind that you can financially afford, and your financial worthiness is there to be able to have you go out and buy a home. And then thirdly, if you're trying to do debt consolidation, or what was the other thing I had mentioned, renewing a mortgage. If you're renewing a mortgage, now is a great time for you to take perhaps a more holistic look at your overall financial picture. Do you need some additional equity out of your home for debt consolidation? Do you want to renovate your home? Is this a time to be renovating? Well, you know what, we all might need to help bolster the economy as we go forward. So what better time to be taking equity out of your house to potentially do the renovations that you perhaps have been putting off. So please keep that in mind. These are all things that need to be looked at, considered. They're available to you. A phone call, an email. Follow me on my social media links, Twitter, Facebook. I don't even know if I have an Instagram account because I don't even know how to use an Instagram account. But if I have one, follow me on it. Follow me on Facebook. We're going to be here again next Monday, 10 a.m. And I'm going to have a reverse mortgage specialist on with me, who it was quite refreshing this morning as I was speaking to him, because I find out that he's not tech savvy either. So we're going to spend the next week trying to figure out how we're going to get him to be on a Facebook Live video with me to answer questions that you might have pertaining to a reverse mortgage for you, yourself, if you're over 55, or for a family member, a grandparent, a great-grandparent. I'm finding today more than ever the reverse mortgages are they're a significant part of our business, because and significant part of the questions and inquiries that we're getting. So from that standpoint, make sure that you tune in next Monday, 10 a.m. and we're going to have Sean Russell here. He is with Home Equity Bank, which is the CHIP mortgage. He's a reverse mortgage specialist, and he's going to answer some questions you have. So please send me your questions this week. Send me anything that you may want to know about, mortgage related, finance related. I'll do what I can to answer or get you answers on anything that you happen to pose my way or come my way. Be safe, stay healthy, stay home. Please take care of your loved ones. Take care of the elderly. They need our help today. And take care of your pets, and take care of others' pets as well, because we need to band together and be a more caring society as we go through this and as we come out of this. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. And I look forward to speaking with you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.